Today we are in the town of Aygo. The origin and history of Aygo actually begins less than a mile east of here at the site called Piety Hill. Established in 1849, Piety Hill was the first gold mining settlement west of Clear Creek and flourished into a thriving population of 1,500 residents, 600 who were Chinese. George McPherson, supervisor of the nearby hardscrabble mine, surveyed a new town site, and most of the white residents of Piety Hill moved there in 1866. Aygo's first resident was William K. Conger. One reason for the move was the hardscrabble mine discovered Piety Hill stood atop an ancient river channel that could be used for hydraulic mining, a faster yet more dangerous and environmentally destructive method than placer mining. Believing mining of the town site was imminent, the white people moved. In fact, the mine was never able to follow through on their plans because at the same time the California legislature passed the Anti-Debris Act, outlawing hydraulic mining. The desire to segregate themselves from the Chinese miners was another reason for their move to Aygo. It also likely influenced their decision to stay and not return to Piety Hill despite the hydraulic mining being stopped. Thus, Aygo was a white settlement, and Piety Hill became almost exclusively a Chinatown. With the influx of people, the town began to take shape. The cemetery, having been created 10 years earlier, stood on a hillside north of the Kingsbury ranch house to first serve Piety Hill and now Aygo. The Aygo schoolhouse was built in 1872. More recently, it was donated to the Shasta Historical Society, who had it restored and moved to the Anderson District Fairgrounds in 1970, where you can still experience it today. The post office was established in 1873 with Alonzo Engel as the first postmaster. Together with the Horsetown post office, it served a large area to include Clear Creek. Although the one in Horsetown closed in 1876, the Aygo post office continues to operate today, just not in the original building. The Aygo Hotel was owned by Warren Dunham in 1881. Its exact location is unknown. As for where the names came from, there are multiple stories. Piety Hill may have come from the McKinney family, who chose to name their new community after their hometown of Piety Hill, Michigan. Or it may have derived from the regular religious and political discussions held by the early devout residents. As for Aygo, two stories are connected to the McPherson family, and taken together, they form the most likely origin. You remember that George McPherson was the supervisor of the hardscrabble mine. The story goes that his young son Eugene would say, "Aygo," as his father would prepare for work each morning. It was McPherson who suggested the name with his son in mind when the town petitioned for a post office. The second story augments the first one, and it has young Eugene putting on his own hat as his father's leaving for work, saying, "Aygo," to which his father says, "Oh no." And thus we have an origin of the name for the nearby town of Ono as well. There is one additional story, although it falls much more into the realm of folklore than actual history. It tells of a Chinese miner saying, "Oh no," to two white miners trying to convince him to leave of a promising mining site. When the white miners further encourage him to leave, this time with the backing of a pistol, the Chinese man says, "I go." And thus we have the origins of the names, the beginnings of the town of Aygo, and its connection to Piety Hill. I hope you enjoyed this snapshot of Shasta County history. If I did my job well, I included something in this video that you may not have heard before. And so it is goodbye until the next time.